So, coming back to everything, quantity is important, more important than quantity is quality, more important than quality is equality amongst your family and amongst your people. But more important than equality is stability of your mind. Agree or not? Tell me yes or no.
Yes.
But I will take you to a journey to help you think different. When I came to UAE, and we had this impossible dream of building a Hindu temple, the first temple in the history of humanity. 1,000 people must have told me that, Your Holiness, you can't build in this region. And I asked him why. He said, history says so. There's never been one in the history of the world. And then I started thinking different. I said, I can either choose to keep studying history or I can choose to change history. And then when I met the rulers, look at the generosity of the rulers. I explained to the rulers that, look, I'm a monk. I won't be able to come to the government offices. And I want to make a temple. I think all of you know that in UAE, you can't even start a shop without the help of a local PRO or without a lawyer. Now the world has become too complicated that even if God comes on this earth, I think he'll need a lawyer. Because everything has to be set right, everything has to be signed perfect. So when I told them that I will try and build a temple without even a need of a lawyer, you know what they did? In one of our meetings, when I was meeting, one local Arab was there from the government side. And then I said, excuse me, so what is your role? He said, I am the happiness officer. I said, what's your role? He said, my role is to keep your Holiness happy. I said, what do you mean? I said, government has certain rules and regulations, then I'll explain to you that these are the rules and regulations. And if you want some changes in the rules or regulations, I'll explain to the government that you want these changes in rules and regulations. My role is to keep you happy, so you can keep our government happy. I want to tell you, more important than even the stability of your mind is your quotient of happiness. Are you happy where you are? Are you happy to be the CEO? Are you happy to be the chairman? Are you happy to be the owner? Do you feel like a stranger in your own home? Do you think the work is too much that you cannot find time for your own health? But more than even happiness, is finding that purpose in life that keeps your values alive. I've seen so many businessmen, and I want to tell you one person, somebody I hold close to my heart. He has built so many orphanages. It is his dream to take care of children who have no parents. And the most shocking thing that happened, his own daughter ran away. What's the point in saving the world when you have no point of living in it? What's the point of creating massive wealth when not even a penny can bring a smile to your face? Sir Charles Chaplin, who was the greatest comedian of the world, and it is said about him that during the Second World War, the code word for D-Day was Charlie Chaplin. How famous must have he been? It is said that when he made the film The Great Dictator, which is a parody on Hitler, Hitler himself watched that film and laughed privately. A comedian who could bring a smile to a dictator like Adolf Hitler, he also himself wrote that personally I am so miserable that I alone could make the whole world laugh, but the whole world together could not make me smile. Unless we find a deeper purpose in life, unless we find something more than just wealth, unless we find something more that actually energizes us than power, we'll never be happy inside our hearts. And I want you to really think about this. If I ask people and businessmen today, what is your purpose? The simple goal would be, as you begin, profits. But you ask all the people who have made large profits and then say, Swami, it's purpose. And yet, despite the fact that we know this, we still focus on profits. What's the use of having profits which help you lose your purpose? That's not correct. That's why I always motivate the youngsters who always want to do startups. Once somebody wise company asked me to go and give a keynote address to the young startups, I think very different. And don't take me wrong. I said the problem with all the startups is that you start a startup with the profits in mind. You want to have something quick, make profits and sell it away. If you don't believe in your ideas, then those startups will not be useful or beneficial to society. When Edison invented the light bulb, he did not do it for money. He did it for curiosity. He thought there was a need. He felt the world should be in light, and he created that light bulb, and that's why even after hundreds of years, that light bulb still sells. If your need is just greed, none of your startups will benefit any society. I encourage the youngsters that do a startup that actually makes life better, that makes living more comfortable, that actually is useful to people. If you satisfy the needs of others, you'll never have a time where your business runs dry. But if you're only focused on your own personal needs, there will come a time when bankruptcy will stare you into your eyes. So my first idea for all the people who are here, of course you focus so much on your own needs. After you establish your business, start focusing on other people's needs. Move away from self-centricism and move towards other-centricism. And you might ask me that, Swami, how will this help? Even the great doctors and medicine is prescribing this as a prescription for good health. A time will come where doctors will say, okay, change your diet, exercise more, take this medicine, and help one person a day from today. See the joy you get by helping others. If I ask you, is water important for you or not? Say yes or no. Yes. Is it crucial? Yes. So when you drink water, you're doing one of the most important things of the day? So how many glasses of water do you drink a day? 5, 10, 8, maybe 12, whatever. There's no ideal. Whatever is right for your body, perfect. So if I ask you how many glasses of water have you drunk throughout your life? You just told me it's important. And you don't pay attention to the important things you do. But if you are passing through the streets and somebody on the street is literally dying out of thirst, and if you give a glass of water to that person and he lives, will you ever forget that glass of water? The glasses of water that save you, you forget. But one glass that saves somebody else, you never forget. The power of helping somebody else is even more stronger. I'm trying to simplify life because you are all businessmen. And then I'm also trying to help you think in a different way that if you are here in this business meeting, so let me add to what I was saying. Small minds discuss people, average minds discuss events, great minds discuss ideas, but the greatest don't discuss, they help people. Try and help. If you turn this conference not just into a meeting of minds and hearts, if you create a purpose in your life of helping others. So if you are here in this conference to seek help, wait. Try and identify people that you can help, focus. And if you go towards the idea of helping somebody in need, you too will rise. Remember, if you help somebody to the top of a mountain, you too reach the top. If you help somebody to the top of a mountain, you too reach the top. So this simple idea of helping others, you might say, Swami, but how is it going to help me? My Guru Swami Maharaj always told me, in the joy of others lies our own. In the good of others lies our own. In the progress of others lies our own. If you focus on helping others, starting from the people who work for you, add value to them. The people who support you, add value to them. Your own family members, who may be with you or not even with you, add value to them. It's in your hands to add value to everybody around you. Once I was going to some very big person's home in Dubai, and he showed me this amazing painting, and then he said, Your Holiness, this painting is worth 18 million dirhams. And I saw it was about 3 feet by 4 feet. And I said, but who gave this painting its value? And he started thinking. I said, because the artist who has painted this painting is dead long ago. I said, who gave this painting a value? Because if I look at the painting, it's just simple canvas, 4 strips of wood, and few blobs of paint. That would be about 50 dirhams. I said, who gave this painting its value? And he's wondering. I said, you did. Because when you bought it for 18 million, you gave this painting 18 million value. And then if somebody buys it from you at 22 million, he gives it his value. When Van Gogh painted, he could not even sell his painting for half a loaf of bread. And now his paintings sell for $400 million. Who gave the painting its value? We do. So I want to ask you, if you can give a non-living, inanimate painting a value of 18 million dirhams, why can't you give value to all the living people here? Walk into your offices, walk into your places, walk with your people, walk with your friends and add value to them. So then I asked him, I said, can you do me one favor? He said, what? I said, in your board meeting, does your father ever come? He said, no. He's 82, he's never come. I said, why don't you once invite your father into your board meeting? I know definitely he's not going to say a word. After a week, he called me. He said, Swami, you revealed the greatest secret to me that was missing in my life. Last week, I called my father into my board meeting. He was just sitting there doing nothing. But after the meeting, he said, son, it's the first time I have felt valued. When you add value to your people, they will add value to your world. We value everybody except the people who support us, people who are with us. So, do you want to turn this conference in a value addition conference? Add value. If you add value to other people, then your own value will change in this world. One of the reasons that I really value Vinodji is all the great social work he does in a very different way and I appreciate him. I value Rahul for all the good work he does. He spends his own time for creating systems, for creating and linking trades, for actually bringing up the image of Maharashtra in so many different ways. So I add value to him. And I want to tell you this perfect example of adding value to something that you do. When I was talking to the rulers and when we were talking about the temple, the mandir that we were making in Abu Dhabi, like I said, 100, 1,000 people told me, no, I only had one whisper from my spiritual leader, Brahma Swami. He said that there will be a temple in Abu Dhabi in 1997. My choice was simple, whether to listen to 1,000 no's or a single yes. I chose to listen to a single yes, and that's why the temple stands. I ask you to add value to your own selves. Do not get swayed by the opinions of the world. If in your heart you feel it is possible, if in your heart there is a yes, let the whole world say no. The world will change and your yes will become true. So believe in yourself first, add value to your own thoughts in yourself and confidence in your own self. And as you go, I always discuss with the rulers as well, in a very loving way. I say, Your Highness, so many people do business in this country. They add to the GDP, GNP. But if they want to move out, it just takes one night, e-transfer, or all their wealth, and all that remains is a shed. And they're out. I said, the temple which we are building, we can't pack in a bag and go. It's the first permanent addition to the skyline of UAE, and that's why it has brought value to the nation, and they themselves have called it a national treasure. I want to explain to you that when you do something that adds value to the nation, that adds value to your family, that adds value to your business, that adds value to your people, that adds value to you, it can only happen when you decide to help others. You tell me, but Swami, within a business world is cutthroat competition. Even in an environment of cutthroat competition, you can still choose to help. Don't tell me you can't. Even if the whole world is starving, you still eat. Even if you say there's a lot of air pollution, you still breathe. Even if you say that all the circumstances are not conducive, you still live. I want to ask you that when you help others, God will help you in mysterious ways. Let me end with a simple analogy which will perhaps explain what I'm trying to say. All of you have come here seeking some things. I am just telling you, give things. What you seek will find its way. Once, a small conference like this was happening, and every participant and delegate who came into the conference hall was given a balloon. And that every balloon was red. And everybody was given a pen to write their name on top of that balloon. Every red balloon had a golden string. And everybody came with their own name written on top of their balloon with a golden string, and they came into the hall holding their balloon. They thought something's going to happen. The announcer said, now release your balloons. So all the balloons got stuck on the ceiling. Correct? And then everybody chatted for a while and everything shook hands and became friendly. And then the announcer said, now you have 10 minutes in catching your own balloon back. The strings were high, nobody could see their names. As they are moved, nobody knew where the balloons were, and every balloon was stuck to the ceiling. So within minutes, people started jumping and hopping, looking at this one time, letting it go again into another direction. Everybody started jumping. There was chaos in 5 minutes, and nobody could find their own name balloon. Then the announcer said, the wise man said, right, stop. Everybody raise your hands and just get hold of the string that is nearest to you. Bring that balloon down, read the name, and go and give that balloon to the person to which it belongs. When you went with that balloon to help somebody else, somebody is also lined up to give you your balloon to help that you. When you help others, you will find help from everywhere. So the idea is yours. You decide whether we want to be the G, whether we want to be the C, and whether we want to be the one of those who can take the ideas and set ourselves free. Thank you very much for holding me here. I feel really happy. May you all raise and rise in your businesses and help our country out. Thank you.
Thank you, Swamiji. It was such a wonderful discourse. On behalf of all our participant entrepreneurs, I pay respect, regards to you for the wisdom which you shared.